Friday, and you know what that means. The latest edition of Talking Politics is coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio. And certainly I am the generational talent in Garden State Media because I'm the hero you need right now, folks. Now more than ever. Fernando Uribe here. Hope you had a wonderful week. Again, as we're wrapping up the month of September. Folks, election season, again, is heating up here, as they always like to talk about during every election cycle. And here in Hudson County, as well as legislatively and even gubernatorially, there's always a lot to talk about. But here in Hudson County, some very interesting races, especially for mayor. They're definitely worth examining. So, as always, there's a lot to discuss. So let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. And first off, I want to thank my good friend and a fellow Rutgers alumnus and a member of the Pinnacle here in Hudson County, John Hines, the editor of the Hudson County View, for his reporting on this story last week, as Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala has decided to endorse fellow progressive Wardy councilman in downtown Jersey City, James Solomon, in the upcoming mayoral election in Jersey City. Now, folks, with 40 days to go, endorsements sometimes matter and sometimes make a difference in getting a lot of undecided voters to get on your side. But this is one endorsement I would argue that James Solomon should have maybe chosen not to accept. And let's get into that a little bit here. Now, as reported once again by John Hines, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala, the Democrat nominee for the State Assembly in the 32nd Legislative District, which encompasses all of Hoboken and the Jersey City Heights, along with downtown Jersey City, is endorsing Jersey City Wardy Councilman James Solomon for mayor. Now, Bala put out a statement last week, quote, "I am proud to endorse James because I know he's going to be a mayor who leads on the issues that matter for Jersey City: affordability, housing, and ensuring every child gets a quality education." Also, he said, James has always been on the side of the people. Wait for it, because you know it's coming with this clown. And I know he's going to lead with honesty and integrity while also staying up to Donald Trump. As you all know, folks, Ravi Bala can't help himself with the Trump derangement syndrome that he exhibits, along with many other woke fools and progressives and social justice clowns in Hudson County politics. Now, the development was telegraphed actually some time ago when last year Solomon backed Bala in an unsuccessful bid for the House of Representatives in the 8th Congressional District, when then freshman Representative Robin Mendez was being challenged by Ravi Bala. And then, of course, in the current June 10th primary that just passed for the State Assembly, and arguably what is the most progressive district in all of New Jersey, the 32nd Legislative District. Of course, both endorsements were covered by the Hudson County View. Now, Solomon also endorsed Bala's running mate, Katie Brennan, the queen of woke herself in Hudson County, who formally backed him for mayor last month. Now, Brennan spoke at Solomon's campaign launch last year. I remember being there, thanks for the open bar, by the way, an event that also was attended by Ravi Bala. Now, the councilman went on to say, quote, "Mayor Bala's leadership in Hoboken has been inspiring." That's absolute bullshit, because it's not. Let's be honest, folks, about what Ravi Bala is in Hoboken. This is a clown who cares more about pronouns than public safety and property taxes. Don't believe me? I don't know. Check out the police blotter, or check out the incidents being reported by residents when it comes to, residents being assaulted in broad daylight at Church Square Park in Hoboken in the Midtown section, right? Or the amount of rats in the city of Hoboken. No, not the people working at City Hall, folks, on Washington Street. The actual rodents that, pose a public health hazard for seniors and children in the city of Hoboken. But he also goes on to say, "I'm honored to receive his support, especially on transportation and safe streets." Yes, because as we all know, safe streets has become the epicenter of the Hoboken echo chamber. Folks, have you been to Hoboken lately? Have you seen the reports of residents being concerned about walking near the Hoboken shelter or any of the public parks or on Washington Street? Folks, Hoboken is as shitty as it's ever been in my adult life. No thanks to the lack of leadership by Ravi Bala. And of course, folks, let's be honest, he's also enabled by the Lollipop Guild. You know who I'm talking about, right? Emily Jabor, current councilwoman, who again is running for mayor this November, backed by Ravi Bala. And of course, the rest of the members of the Lollipop Guild that have contributed to the decline of Hoboken. An increase in the budget, an increase in property taxes. But don't worry, folks, during June and Pride Month, and now, again, remember, October's coming, so we're going to have LGBTQ plus minus, multiplication sign, division sign, square root, month in the city of Hoboken, as we have also throughout the state of New Jersey. So don't worry, folks, when it comes to all the identity nonsense, Ravi Bala and Emily Jabor along with Joe Quintero, who, by the way, folks, Joe Quintero is a living embodiment of how easy it is to get a law degree when you have clowns like this practicing law. It almost makes you wonder, like, you wouldn't want this idiot representing you in a traffic stop in municipal court. Or the others in Hoboken government that have enabled the shitty conditions perpetuated by Ravi Bala. Of course, you have the charisma vacuum, Jim Doyle. And then, of course, you have Phil Cohen, who, let's be honest, with that 33-pound head that Phil Cohen has, you would think he'd be able to sort of see in advance what's going on in front of him. But, folks, yes, this is the team that has driven Hoboken into the ground. So it kind of makes you wonder, why would James Solomon, who, again, James Solomon and I don't see eye to eye on anything. He's as progressive as it gets. He's all about pronouns. He's all about bathrooms. He's all about, gender inclusivity and body inclusivity and all the other woke nonsense that, quite frankly, folks, people in Jersey City don't give a shit about. You know what people care about in Jersey City? I can tell you because they talk to me regularly. They watch this show and they watch me on Monday nights via Jersey First TV, which, again, you can check out Real Talk every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But I'm the one talking about issues that matter to Jersey City residents, and they're grateful for that. Property taxes, parking, whether or not their snow's going to get shoveled on their block when a snowstorm hits Jersey City, or whether we're going to see an increase in constituent services, or maybe a rec program that'll benefit Jersey City kids, or maybe a program that will benefit seniors. Like, this is what matters to Jersey City residents. Folks, I've talked to mayoral candidates, such as County Commissioner Bill O'Day, Police Officer Christina Freeman, former Governor Jim McGreevey. I've talked to these mayoral candidates, and we've been able to have conversations about what matters in this election cycle. Not all the progressive nonsense, not all this hysteria about Trump derangement syndrome that we all know Ravi Bala blows a load in his pants about. Okay? And all these progressives in downtown Jersey City, I get it, oh my God, what's happening, what's happening in our cities and with ICE and, the cost of eggs. And you would know by some of the behemoths that always comment on my social media, they're concerned about the cost of eggs, which, by the way, have gone down exponentially since January. But more on that later. But, folks, let's be careful about who we accept endorsements from. And I think that's my warning to James Solomon. If you're looking at Ravi Bala as, a blueprint of how not to run a city, or better yet, how to run a city into the ground, then again, look no further than Ravi Bala's legacy since he took office in January of 2018. Now, thankfully, he's not running for mayor, but unfortunately, he's running for the state assembly. So all the insufferable bullshit you've gotten to hear about Ravi Bala over the years, now he's going to bring that to Trenton because he's almost all but certain, along with Katie Brennan, to win the election coming up on November 4th. I mean, listen, stranger things have happened. I'd love to see Republicans unseat them in the 32nd Legislative District, but that's not going to happen. It's just not. Hudson County is as blue as Windex, folks, and LD 32 will remain the most progressive district in Hudson County, if not all of New Jersey. But what's interesting, folks, is even so much the fact of who James Solomon gets endorsements from, but who's advising James Solomon. And that's the scarier part. Now, let me give you a context here, folks. If you all remember, I talked about it last week during the season premiere of Talking Politics, where this past summer I was the victim, or at least an attempted victim, at the hands of cancel culture. We all know what happened in Jersey City. We all know what happened when John Hines and I dared to host a candidate forum for the Jersey City candidates for mayor. We all know what happened. It didn't work out at NJCU, it didn't work out at the Ashford, but we decided to have it at 626. And of course, once the flyer went out, we all know every obese feminist and all the smelly cat ladies and all the insufferable lesbians and everyone else in Jersey City were up in arms. How dare these candidates participate in a forum, moderated by Fernando Uribe? Gee, I don't know, a guy that knows more about politics in his sleep than all of you know awake, but, never mind that. But you know who else was leading the charge? And speaking of insufferable women in Jersey City, I just mentioned them. And we all know, they're from the Jersey City LGBTQ Alliance, people who head up the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association, Caleb Burrell, that insufferable lesbian, right? But when we talk about insufferable women in Jersey City, you know who comes to mind, folks? Stuart Thomas. You know her, right? And don't let the beard fool you in the photo, folks. I mean, this is the most feminine man I know in Jersey City. So it's not a stretch to refer to Stuart Thomas as a woman, because that's what he is. He showed his tendencies to keep bitching and moaning over the summer. And he was, along with everyone else I mentioned, was instrumental in making sure that this candidate forum didn't take place. But this is the guy heading up the Solomon campaign. This is the guy who somehow is trying to convince you that identity politics is what's front and center in Jersey City. That somehow we have to care about pronouns and making sure there are enough gender-inclusive bathrooms in Jersey City. Never mind parking. No, because parking is not a problem in Jersey City. Take your pick, folks. The Heights, South Side, West Side, 440, Journal Square. You name it, folks. Okay? There's no shortage of problems in Jersey City. Crime is still an issue. Folks, you ever been on the South Side of Jersey City? You want to be there after 6 p.m.? Or now coming up in October after daylight savings time when we set our clocks back? You want to be on the South Side of Jersey City after 5 p.m.? Yeah, good luck with that. Do we need more of a police presence? Absolutely. Not defunding the police. Like we all know that James Solomon was kind of dog whistling about 5 summers ago during the summer when, we were all glorifying a career criminal like George Floyd. But Stuart Thomas would rather fool you into believing that all of the woke nonsense, that everything going wrong with you as a Jersey City resident is the fault of the President of the United States. Stuart Thomas and other insufferable women in Jersey City would want you to believe that the reason your property taxes continue to escalate, that the reason there's a lack of parking, that the reason that there is more and more development going on all around Jersey City is somehow the president's fault. Very much like the playbook we heard all last year, right? Everything going wrong in your life is because of Donald Trump. We all know that's not true. But virtue signalers and gaslighters like Stuart Thomas would have you believe that in Jersey City, once again, folks, when people are paying tens of thousands of dollars for property taxes, that somehow that's Donald Trump's fault. That somehow if your garbage isn't getting picked up on time in Jersey City, that's Donald Trump's fault. Folks, that's the playbook for progressives for as long as I can remember. And we're seeing that in this mayoral election. And we shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, as I've talked about in my classrooms over the years, while teaching political science, all politics is local. But don't tell that to women like Stuart Thomas. Stuart Thomas would be like a lot of my ex-girlfriends. They bitch to live, and they live to bitch. Notice the similarity there? But these are the type of people advising James Solomon. Again, James, 40 days to go. I'm not going to tell you how to run your campaign. You're going to live and die with Stuart Thomas and other insufferable progressives in Jersey City. And if you think that's enough to get you across the finish line, have at it. That remains to be seen. So at the end of the day, folks, it kind of makes you wonder if it's really worth getting this sort of endorsement. And also, is it really worth even having this sort of counsel next to you? And I get it with 40 days to go. James, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're going to live and die with Stuart Thomas and all your supporters and these endorsements from other progressives like Ravi Bala. And I get it, folks, but is that going to be enough to get you across the finish line, James? Well, that remains to be seen. But if I were you, I would have never really accepted endorsements from social justice clowns and woke fools like Ravi Bala. And I surely wouldn't hire identity hysterics and woke fools like Stuart Thomas. But hey, what do I know? I don't run campaigns. I only talk about them. So again, man, whether that gets you across the finish line, that remains to be seen, James. But we'll find out coming up because, we'll see if you get to the runoff, but highly unlikely. As I'm calling it right now, I believe Jim McGreevey and Bill O'Day will be in the runoff on the first Tuesday of December, shortly after Election Day, this coming November the 4th. So again, folks, be careful who you surround yourselves with because sometimes that awful stink makes a difference in how you're perceived. So for future notice, James, I don't know about surrounding yourself with people like Ravi Bala and certainly with women like Stuart Thomas. We'll see if it gets you across the finish line, but chances are it won't. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Staying in Jersey City, and once again, a thank you to John Highness, the editor of the Hudson County View, for his reporting on this story. Well, what a surprise. One vile anti-Semite supporting another vile human being. Well, that's what we got last week in front of the steps of City Hall in downtown Jersey City as U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota came to Jersey City to support local social justice clown and mayoral candidate Musab Ali. Now, quote, across the country, families are under attack by an authoritarian administration. We won't be silent. They know when we speak up, our voices carry power, Omar said during the event. She defined local government as critical in defending against the policies of the President of the United States and described Jersey City as, quote, on the front line of the battle against Donald Trump. Folks, I mean, honestly, is this all the left has today? Is this all that progressives and far-left Democrats and other social justice clowns and the woke fools, is this all they have? Everything that sucks about your life right now is because of Donald Trump, and we all know that's not true. I just said it during my opening monologue. Your property taxes, whether it's in Jersey City or name any city in New Jersey, are the highest in the nation at an average of over $10,000. We spend $7 billion a year of the state budget, your tax dollars, to coddle illegals, to give them health care, to give them other amenities. The gas tax went up again this year in its final phase of its implementation, where we're now paying 49 cents a gallon when we go up to fill up our gas tanks. Again, the fourth highest in the country. Oh, and by the way, when AAA decides to do their evaluations of roads in the country, guess where New Jersey ranks? Yes, the bottom third in the United States. So where's all that money coming from when it comes to the gas tax to going to the Transportation Trust Fund? Kind of makes you wonder. Or food prices going down since January, and they have. Or interest rates. By the way, have you noticed, folks? Interest rates have gone down. So if you're looking to buy a home or buy a condo, interest rates have gone down. So that mortgage might be a little more affordable now. But again, forget about all that stuff. Because it's about the scare tactic of authoritarianism, which, by the way, folks, if you just read this week on the news, yes, it's been reported that the Biden administration explicitly was telling big tech companies to censor Americans. Notice the difference there in the hysteria about free speech in the last week about President Donald Trump, but we all knew this about President Joe Biden. We all knew that him and his administration were purposely telling YouTube and Facebook to censor Americans when it came to the scamdemic. Somehow, yeah, that's gone under the radar. Yeah, it wasn't authoritarian, according to Ilhan Omar, but what we're living in right now, presently, supposedly is authoritarian. Folks, that's how full of shit this side of the aisle is. So it should be to no surprise that a clown like Musab Ali is happily receiving endorsements. Is there something in the water in Jersey City? Is there something in the food, in the vending machines? I don't know, your local coffee place or bagels that you're getting in the morning? What is it with candidates running for mayor receiving endorsements from shitty human beings? On one side, we have James Solomon receiving an endorsement from perhaps one of the shittiest human beings in New Jersey politics, that's Ravi Bala, to now Musab Ali receiving an endorsement from some of the shittiest human beings in the United States, and that's U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar. Again, what's going on here, folks? Has the left lost its mind? Never mind, that's a rhetorical question. But for a vile anti-Semite like Ilhan Omar to talk about who's limiting speech, I think is pretty rich from this woman. From this woman who openly endorses terrorists, who said that, that thing that happened on September 11, 2001, some people did some things. Folks, this is the vile woman endorsing a candidate for mayor in Jersey City. And Musab Ali is just sitting there like, like a seal, waiting for that extra piece of fish at the circus. Happily receiving an endorsement from a vile human being like Ilhan Omar. A woman who escaped a shithole in Somalia and comes here and doesn't really appreciate what she has here. What a surprise from the left and those progressives. But that's who Musab Ali will happily embrace. So folks, tell me you're getting 4% of the vote in 40 days without really telling me you're getting 4% of the vote in 40 days. That's the best way to summarize Musab Ali and his campaign, folks. Don't believe me? Well, wait in 40 days. We'll see what the returns are. But trust me, if he gets more than 4%, that's an absolute miracle. But again, folks, one trash human endorsing another trash human, well, I don't know. Seems to be contagious in Jersey City. Staying in Jersey City, and a nice editorial by council candidate Pam Johnson on the south side of Jersey City. And once again, great reporting by John Hines, the editor of the Hudson County View, with this story. Now, Pam Johnson explains why the city needs minority developers at the table going forward to help shape Jersey City. Now, Pam Johnson goes on to say, let's be clear. Jersey City is not hurting for developers. Every month, new projects rise from the ground luxury towers, townhouses, retail spaces, signaling growth that is hard to ignore. But as a lifelong resident of Ward A, I must ask, growth for whom? Are we building a city that reflects all of us? Or are we repeating the same cycles of exclusion that have left black and brown communities watching from the sidelines? For decades, we've seen promises made about opportunity and community benefit, only to watch outside interests reap the rewards, while our neighborhoods deal with the consequences. Jersey City does not lack development ideas, ambition, or even capital. What we lack, and what City Hall has failed to address head-on, is the intentional inclusion of minority developers in these projects, especially when city-owned land is at stake. When city officials talk about diversity in development too often, the conversation stops at jobs, who gets hired for construction, and who gets a contract for landscaping. If we want real change, we need enforced policies that incentivize developers to partner with equity-based minority developers right here, right now, on city-owned land. This is not about handouts or favors, it's about correcting a historic imbalance. When you bring minority developers to the table as full partners, you create generational wealth and not just paychecks. You give our young people role models and pathways. You ensure that the vision for Ward A's future includes the voices and values of those who have built and sustained these neighborhoods. Too many times we see deals struck behind closed doors with the same developers cycling through the corridors of power. We need transparency, and we need policies that hold everyone accountable, not just for hiring, but for sharing real ownership. Now, there is more to the editorial, but you get the picture here, folks. And beautifully written by Pam Johnson in Ward A, who, by the way, I'm openly supporting here, and I'm rooting for in Ward A. We've seen Denise Ridley enough. It's time for some new blood in Ward A. It's time for some new blood to come up with some new ideas and some new policy prescriptions. And I believe Pam Johnson brings that. And you see that here in this editorial. There's no question, folks, Ward A has its fair share of problems. But she hit the nail on the head right there. When it comes to all this development that's going on, but really are black and brown people just watching from the sidelines. That appears to be the case. Now we'll see if she gets across the finish line coming up on November the 4th in 40 days. Or maybe there's a runoff. Who knows? But if you're looking for a good, strong candidate, a single mom, an advocate, and someone who represents some of the most disenfranchised in Jersey City, folks, it's Pam Johnson. So good job with this editorial, and good job with raising awareness about really development that needs to be sort of more equitable for everybody and not just for some. Lastly, folks, as we're about to wrap up the month of September, October is right around the corner. As you all know, I'm very dedicated during the month of October since it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'll be partnering once again with the American Cancer Society and the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer campaign during the entire month of October. So mark it on your calendars for Wednesday night, October the 15th, as it will be the 2025 edition of A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts. Now, since 2008, I've been volunteering for the American Cancer Society, helping to provide resources, funding, and most importantly, support for disenfranchised communities all across New Jersey and all across the United States. Breast cancer continues to affect millions of women and men as well here in the U.S. And I've dedicated myself to making sure that we raise awareness and, most importantly, also raise funds to help combat breast cancer. So on Wednesday night, October the 15th, I'll be partnering with my amazing co-hosts, Sylvia Sapinska, Vladimir Carrero, Alexandra Hammer, and Jacqueline Rodriguez. Together, we'll greet you at the door upon arriving. And by the way, we're asking for a modest $20 donation at the door, with all proceeds benefiting, once again, the American Cancer Society. We'll have great prizes off during the raffle, which include guest passes from Sojo Spa in Edgewater, Rumba Cubana restaurants, as well as La Sorrentina in North Bergen, Trattoria Napoli in Union City, Blue in the Hudson in Weehawken, Hand and Stone Spa in Edgewater, as well as Team 48 Jiu-Jitsu in West New York. We'll be having some more prizes, and I'll be announcing them in the coming weeks. But folks, very importantly, mark on your calendars for Wednesday night, October the 15th, starting at 7 p.m. at the world-famous Waterside, as you can see on the flyer right behind me. We'll have drink specials, which include sangria and wine, respectively. And, of course, there will be excellent networking opportunities. And DJ Ziggy Roman will be bringing the heat all evening long. Once again, there is valet parking. And certainly, we appreciate all donations. So don't forget to bring some cash and bring it out that evening, folks. Once again, on Wednesday night, October the 15th, for a professor's quest to save breasts to, once again, benefit the American Cancer Society. For more information, you can check out the flyer there. You can also make sure you email me or call me directly for more information. Make sure you bring plenty of friends and folks. It's a great opportunity to make a difference in the lives of so many people still struggling with breast cancer. I'm proud now more than ever to volunteer for the American Cancer Society, and I hope you are too. So I'll see you on Wednesday night, October the 15th, starting at 7 p.m., and we'll be partying all night long, once again, to benefit the American Cancer Society. And together, we can defeat breast cancer once and for all. And that's our show for this week. Once again, to check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the leader in independent media right here in Hudson County, folks, it's always the Hudson Media Group. Make sure you like them on Facebook. Of course, follow them on Instagram and X. And certainly, make sure you subscribe to all the great content brought to you by the Hudson Media Group by following them on their YouTube channel. You'll see Talking Politics every single week here, as well as all the other great programming we bring you every single week, which includes Hudson County View Live every Wednesday with Hudson County View editor John Hines, Stick at Night with Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano, and of course all the great young men and women working at North Bergen High School, led by Greta Hernandez. Folks, we'll keep bringing you more and more programming during the fall weeks here, again, as we are coming up on Election Day, and we'll have plenty of debates with 40 days to go, not just in Hoboken, but also in Jersey City. So make sure you stay tuned for that by keeping up with the Hudson Media Group. And I can't say enough, folks, what a privilege it is to come to you every single week here. And I'm grateful for all of you that take the time to review not just this program, but all the great content we bring you every single week here via the Hudson Media Group. I wish, remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it is always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am the generational talent in Garden State media, and certainly the hero you need right now, folks, because guess what? As the establishment media continues to lie to you every single day, guess who won't? Fernando Uribe. So, again, folks, I'll continue to be the sworn enemy of all the local social justice clowns, woke fools, all the obese feminists, smelly insufferable cat ladies, and the alphabet mob, respectively. That's right. It's me, Fernando Uribe. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week, folks. Again, please look after your elderly neighbors. Folks, please drive carefully again since school is back in session. School buses, crosswalks. Let's make sure our kids get to school safely and they get back home safely during this new school year. We appreciate your time here, folks. I'll see you next week here on the Hudson Media Group. I'm Fernando Uribe. Thank you so much for watching.